Hi, welcome to Wings for Life. We are back on the air. In fact, we are doing something unusual but very exciting and brand new. We are doing Zoom and Facebook Live. So we are so excited that you're with us here tonight. And tonight I'm going to talk about Communication 101 and the 40 developmental assets. And this is really the key to everything about Wings. So I really want you to pay attention tonight because if you understand this concept, you're going to understand why we do everything that we do. So let's start with, first of all, tonight, you are going to need one piece of newspaper, or any kind of cheap paper, tear up anything, a grocery bag, it doesn't matter. I'm saying about a 4x8, so we start with the same size piece of paper. And if you've got any paper cups at home, 6 to 40, any number will work, if you've got them. And I did put on the website our list of the 40 developmental assets. If you have that and have printed it out, that would be great. If you don't, no big deal, but it is located on our website under our meeting schedule for tonight. The name of our program that we're talking about is Wings for Life. And you notice that has periods on it, empowering youth and families. And that life stands for life skills imparted to families through education. I always like to say we're trying to give people wings to fly for the rest of their life. But we are going to teach you something in the process. I am very proud to say that we are the winner of the American Probation and Parole Association's National Award of Excellence in Crime Prevention, the best program in America. Isn't that exciting? And what we do is we try to, first of all, Wings for Life, empowerment and support for family members. So we are going to teach you things that are going to empower you and strengthen your families. And I've never met a family that doesn't want to be strengthened. We're going to teach you manners. I always like to say when I worked for the airlines, people in first class, where did they learn manners? They were taught manners. So we like to teach manners. We're going to teach manners. We're going to teach life skills. We're going to have plenty of discussion, and even with our Zoom, we're going to have a chance for you to be able to get into breakout rooms and talk to one another, because that's a key component, and it's a learning component for Wings. And also, we're going to teach you about the 40 developmental assets, and that's the night tonight that you're going to learn all about those things. And then, of course, we get to do special meetings, too. And so we're going to have a special meeting at Christmas, a big Christmas surprise, and I don't even know what it's going to be yet because of COVID, but it's going to be fun. Now, at Wings Manners, we have basically four parts of our Wings program. Manners, I talked about that. The life skills, we're going to teach you how to shake a hand. We're going to teach you where a name tag goes. In fact, I'll teach you right now. A name tag goes high in your shoulder, up in an appropriate part of your body, never in the breast area, and up high enough that somebody could see it. And always think of, if you look at a logo shirt, you'll see it up in the left-hand side. It's above your heart. And if you're right-handed, think of it this way. It's easy to put your name tag on. A left-handed person has a little harder time putting on a name tag. But that's where a name tag goes, always up high. And if you were here in person, we would want to have you wear your name tag, because we like to know who you are. We've talked about discussion. We're going to put you in discussion groups and group mentoring. So why do I call it group mentoring? Because if I'm gone one night, well, Mike's going to be there. Soraya's going to be there. Yolanda's going to be there. Mary's going to be there. All these other people are going to be there. And the program isn't going to fall apart. And so all of us together form a team, and we all help each other. And at the middle, you notice I've got a big, huge red heart. But also, I have written in the middle of it ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. So we are going to share love with one another, knowing that a lot of people have grown up with adverse childhood experiences. These are called ACEs. And now they're estimating that probably no child growing up today doesn't have at least one. And certainly with COVID, I will guarantee some kind of stress in their life. But some of the ACEs include if you've had a divorce in your family, if you've had any food insecurity in your family, if you've had any addictions in your family, anybody that's had a problem, if you've had yelling and screaming in your family, if you've had any abuse in your family, and heaven forbid, incarceration. All of these things lead up to adverse childhood experiences that really end up being very detrimental to all of us. And so we work on building those, and we use those 40 developmental assets to build and increase those ACEs and those ACEs scores. I'm very proud of some of our Wings for Life statistics. We have over 14 years, only a 4% recidivism rate. Now, recidivism means return to prison. And that means for anybody that has been in prison that has come to our program, only 4% of those folks have recidivated. Now, the national recidivism rate on a 9-year study is 83%. That means if you're listening to this today and you've been in prison over a course of 9 years, you've got to wait 9 years to make it and avoid going back to prison to beat that 83%. Now, isn't that a tragedy? And when somebody gets out of prison, I don't know anybody that says, boy, I can't wait to go back. And I've never met a family that says, I want my family member to go back. And for those of you to know, my first husband went to prison. That's why I do this whole thing. And believe me, I never even wanted to visit him in prison, much less ever be in his shoes in prison. Prison is not a fun place to be. So we want to keep you out of prison. We want to keep your kids out of prison. That's what we do. I'm also proud to say that 100% of our youth for 14 years, if they've attended 10 meetings or more in 1 year, they have progressed to the next grade. They have not dropped out of school. We are very proud of that. Also, 100% of our girls for the past 14 years that we've been doing our program, if they've attended 10 times in a calendar year, we've had no pregnancies at all. So these are things that we're looking for. These are ways to cut at-risk behaviors and markers to look for. So tonight now, we're going to play some games. We're going to have a fun night, and you're going to have fun at home. So grab all your kids, get everybody together. Remember, I asked you to get one piece of paper. Should look about this size, so hopefully you've got your piece of paper. Now, we got a couple rules here. Do not talk. Even there, now you can't talk back to me because now I'm by Zoom. People always, when I do this live, hey, I've got a question. Nope, can't talk. You need to follow my instructions, and I'm going to ask you to close your eyes because I don't want you to see what I'm doing to my paper, and I'm going to hold it behind the desk up here, or the podium. So, okay, I'm going to ask you to fold your paper. So fold your paper, and I'm going to ask you to make a tear in your paper. Let's see, fold that paper again. And let's tear off a corner. So I'm going to tear off a corner here. And okay, let's tear another corner. I think I'd like to see another corner torn. Let's fold that paper one more time. And, well, let's tear off another corner. That might be kind of fun. Let's tear off another corner and see what happens. Okay, now, if you've been sitting at home, I'm going to let you open your eyes, and I'm going to open my eyes, and I'm going to open my paper. Oh my gosh, look what I've got. I've got two big eyes. Now, if I turn it around, no, I don't have a nose, but I do have two big eyes here to see you. And I've got a little torn off corner on this side, but nothing on this side. Oh, a little tear. Well, does yours look like mine? Now, I've asked some people here in the room to tear a piece of paper so I could see what theirs looks like. Mary's is in shreds. Oh my gosh, Mike's, I can't even tell. He's got so many holes all over that. And Nick, oh, yours doesn't look anything like mine. How come it doesn't look like my paper? I told you what to do. Come on, how come it doesn't look exactly like what I told you? Now, you're sitting at home and you're saying, Aunt, come on. You gave us terrible instructions. You know, I did. I really gave you bad instructions, didn't I? You know, I purposely did that because how many times in a workplace or at home even with your kids, go clean the room. What does that mean? So if you don't give precise, exact instructions, now, see, if I had told you, now fold your paper. See, I kind of cheated. The first time I just folded my paper like this. I didn't fold it in half, or I didn't fold it in half this way. Depending on how you folded that paper would have changed your whole outlook. And that's why everybody in this room, theirs doesn't look like mine. But if somebody were to give you good instructions, then you would look exactly like mine. Because if I had told you fold it in thirds, then fold it in half again like this, now tear out like a 50-cent piece, tear out of that corner, you would have had that circle, wouldn't you, to match mine? So if you are giving instructions, or you are receiving instructions. And sometimes it's even better if you're receiving these instructions and you're being given those terrible instructions. Ask, what do you mean? Well, Mom, you want me to clean up the kitchen. What do you want me to do? Now, if your mom says go clean the kitchen and you wiped up the floor and she wanted all the dishes put in the dishwasher and she wanted the pots and pans cleaned and put away and you didn't do that but you mopped the floor, you cleaned the kitchen, right? But if Mom said, I want the dishes in the dishwasher, I want the pots and pans cleaned, washed, dried, and put away, and then I want you to take out a mop and mop the floor in that order, because if you've spilled in the process, then when you do the final mopping, the floor is clean, you would have a clean floor, right? And a clean kitchen, and Mom would have been happy. But if she said, go clean the kitchen, and that's what you did, and oftentimes that's what happens. We're given poor instruction. And if you're in the workplace and your boss says, well, let's just say go clean up the breakup room. And so you go in there and you straighten everything up. The coffee is here and you kind of make, the cups are here and you make things kind of nice and neat and you wipe off the counter a little bit and you think it's all done. And then the boss comes in and says, oh my gosh, look at this microwave. You didn't clean out the microwave. Look how gummy and dirty this thing is. Well, the boss didn't tell you what they expected. And so always, always, always ask for deeper and more detailed instruction, because you don't want to have your boss expecting something to look like this, and it looks like what you've got at home. So, hope that made sense. Communication is key. So be very careful how you communicate. Well, tonight we're going to talk about Search Institute and the 40 developmental assets. Every week at Wings for Life, we're going to share at least 1 to 3 of these assets. These are called developmental assets. And we're not only going to share what they are, we're going to give you an idea of how to build these assets. Now, at home, I'm going to walk over here because I have already done some of my building. I'm going to ask you to stack your cups as quickly as possible. The cups must stand on their own. I want you to build the highest tower that you can that's going to be strong and that will stand by itself, and I want you to work together as a team. So to save time, I already built this pyramid. And boy, this is a pretty impressive pyramid, don't you think? And look at this one over here. See, it's almost as high. I didn't have quite as many cups, but boy, look how impressive that one is. And look at this one. Oh my gosh, that's even higher than this one. Now, it doesn't have as many. Now, I want to talk first and share something with you that, and you can see on the slides, we've got our asset tower here, and that's a big, big tower. That has a lot of cups. This is a 12-cup asset tower, similar to the one that I've got over here at the end. Oh, look at this. This one, those people had a lot of cups, didn't they? But they couldn't do anything with them. In the time period that I gave them, in a minute and a half, they tried to stack them and they started falling down, and oh my gosh, look at that. But they're kind of proud of themselves, yeah, ha ha ha. But they couldn't accomplish the task. How many times do we know people that are given cups, but they can't quite get their act together? And I want to talk about the wins of life. So when I talk about wins of life, okay, loss of job, maybe getting a job. Getting a job is hard work, isn't it? You got to go out and find the job and then get the job. And oh my gosh, you get the job and then you lose the job? These are huge wins of life. They're going to sway your life. Moving. You're all excited to move in a new place. But oh my gosh, you got to pack up the old house. You got to get a moving van or figure out how you're going to move everything. You got to move it into the new house, clean it up the new house, get it all ready. Lot of wins of life. Accidents. Boy, that throws a kink into everything in a hurry, doesn't it? And who plans for an accident? Illness. COVID going on. Oh my gosh, that's a real problem when people get sick. How do you deal with this? Divorce, getting married, having children get sick. Oh my gosh, grandma dies. And incarceration, huge wins of life. So I'm going to pretend that I'm the wind of life. And I'm going to pretend that, and I got one blow, that I'm going to blow and see what happens to these towers here. So I'm going to start with this one because it doesn't have too much over here. So let's see what happens when I get one blow as the wind of life. Whoa, knocked almost everything over. Not much left on the table. Well, let me see what happens over here. And this is 20 cups over here. Let's see what I can do. Whoa. Only one cup on the second level. Knocked everything else over. Not very many remaining there. Now, this is a huge pyramid. Do you think I can knock all of these over? What do you think? Well, I'm going to try, but I doubt if I can knock all these over. But I'm going to see what happens. Oh, wow. Look at that. I couldn't even touch this side. Now, I did knock over that side, but there's still a whole lot more cups over here. Now, I'm going to ask Mike to come up and help me here with something. So I'm going to build another pyramid because I'm going to just do 6 cups. I told you at home that you could have maybe only 6 cups. And sometimes people don't have a lot of cups. Let me move that forward a little bit there for you, Mike. And you know, they don't have a lot of stability. These had a whole lot more, didn't they? But I'm going to ask Mike to do something. So Mike, if you could, put your hands out there, and I'm going to be the wind of life, and let's see what happens when I blow. Oh my gosh. Nothing. Thank you, Mike. Good job. Well, what I like to say, and why I like to do this example here, is that Mike blocked the winds of life. This picture on the screen, I actually took that picture probably about 12 years ago, one of the first years we were doing this exercise. And I was going from table to table to table. And one group had the big pyramid that you saw with the 40 cups. Another one had the 20, another had 15, 12. I had 12 and that high one. This group only had 6 cups, like the one that I just did over there. But they knew I was coming, and they put their hands out there. And I like to say, and I had this aha moment when I took the picture. I said, oh my gosh, that's what we do. We block those winds of life. We teach people, how are we going to prepare you for the winds of life that are inevitable? We're all going to get sick at some point, aren't we? Somebody in our family is going to have an accident. We're going to have to move sometime in our life. We are going to get a job or lose a job or take a new job or do something. We're going to have marriages. We're going to have divorces. We're going to have children. We're going to have sick children. We're going to have issues with children. That's just life. But if we teach people how to prepare for the winds of life, and that's what we are going to do at Wings. Now, the scary thing is, and if you did print out the list of the 40 assets, Search Institute, who's been around for over 40 years, has tested over 6 million kids, and they've found out that you have to have 30 or more of these developmental assets to cut at-risk behaviors. And unfortunately, no community in America, the kids in mid and high schools and public schools, have the kids tested higher than 20. So the first asset is family support. Second one, positive family communication. Third one, other caring adults. All the way down to number 40, a positive view of the future. 20 of these are external assets, so outside things, caring school climate, parent involvement schooling, safety, creative activities, youth programs, religious community. Then we've got our internal assets, which how achievement motivation. Are you motivated? Are you engaged in school or work? Do you have a bonding to your school or work? Do you read for pleasure? Reading is so important. Resistance skills, peaceful conflict resolution, personal power, self-esteem, sense of purpose, and of course that 40th one, a positive view of the future. Do you have a positive view of the future? I sure do. Even with COVID, I have a positive view of the future. And at Wings, we're going to give you a placemat. And if you go to our website, you will find that actual placemat that if we were together in person, that we'd be talking about over dinner. And so we are not only going to say build asset number one, which is family support, but then we're going to give you ideas of how to build it. So like eat one meal together every day, limit television watching, watch TV as a family, read to your children, provide positive learning environment for your in your home, state and discuss your values, and include the inmate. If you've got an incarcerated loved one, they are part of your family. You need to talk about these things. So every week we are going to give you examples of how are you going to build these things. And so this is what the slide looks like, or the handout looks like. It gives you an idea of the first 20 of these external assets. But I really would encourage you, print that form out so you have that, because it's so important. And every week, or every month actually, at Wings, we're going to focus in on 4 topics: finance, work, jobs, schools, so how that applies to you for kids or the ages or whatever, parenting classes, and family communication. So tonight, this is kind of a family communication night. How are you going to communicate better with your kids, and how are you going to start building these assets? The 4th topic is issues unique to incarceration. So we are going to bring in we're going to talk about probation and parole. We're going to bring in returning citizens that have survived and are doing well. We're going to bring in judges, talk about domestic violence, the homecoming, a variety of topics. So anything that you're interested in, you tell us about them. And everything that we do at Wings for Life is about connecting lives and strengthening relationships. Because the stronger that you are, the stronger your children are, the better off everybody is going to be. And I have traveled the world, and I've asked this question everywhere I go around the world. How many of you want anybody that you know to end up in prison? I have never, ever had a hand go up. And then, when we go into prisons, we teach these assets. And then I say, how many of you want to learn ways, guaranteed ways, that are going to strengthen your family and hopefully keep your kids out of prison? Every hand goes up. And so if you can learn about these developmental assets and go along with us, we are going to help you to strengthen that family and do the very best that we possibly can to help you. So I thank you for being with us here tonight. This has been wonderful. We are so happy to be able to join you through Zoom. And we are going to be putting all of these programs on our website. And so you'll be able to go back and listen to this again and again and again. And then we will be back in person when we can, and then we will have all of these programs recorded for you as well. So thanks for being with us tonight. Now, I always like to close our programs with a story. And this is a positive way that I can end our program, having you think about some things, so give you something else to talk over with your family tonight and in the week ahead. And also, you can go to our website and you can find a copy of this story as well. And so this one is called When You Thought I Wasn't Looking. When you thought I wasn't looking, you hung my first painting on the refrigerator, and I wanted to paint another one. When you thought I wasn't looking, you fed a stray cat, and I thought it was good to be kind to animals. When you thought I wasn't looking, you baked a birthday cake just for me, and I knew that little things were special things. When you thought I wasn't looking, you said a prayer, and I believed there was a God that I could always talk to. When you thought I wasn't looking, you kissed me goodnight, and I felt loved. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw tears come from your eyes, and I learned that sometimes things hurt, but that it's all right to cry. When you thought I wasn't looking, you smiled, and it made me want to look that pretty too. When you thought I wasn't looking, you cared, and I wanted to be everything I could be. When you thought I wasn't looking, I looked, and wanted to say thanks for all those things that you did when you thought I wasn't looking. This was written in 1980 by Mary Rita Schilke Corzan, and isn't it wonderful? So when you thought I wasn't looking, I'm going to be looking. And I just hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you'll be joining us every week, Monday nights, Zoom, Wings for Life, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Thanks for being with us. See you next week.